This is QTV Nightly News. I'm Amudu Gajaga and thank you for joining us. And you are reminded that you can also join us on Q Radio 103.3 FM. And here are the headlines. The police have issued an update on the shocking incident in Abuko where a schoolboy was pinned against a wall, his legs crushed by a joyrider's car. The Secretary General of the African Continental Free Trade Area, His Excellency Wamkele Mene, is in the Gambia for a 2-day visit to assess the country's progress in implementing the landmark Continental Trade Agreement. Mamadou Touro Dabo, CEO of Sanka Jula Holding Company, appeared before the Select Committee on Tuesday to testify about his purchase of 5 aircraft that once belonged to former President Jammeh. In international news, Cameroon's Electoral Commission, ELCOM, announced on Tuesday that apart from the incumbent, 81 people have submitted applications to contest the October's presidential elections. Those were the headlines, now the news in detail. Welcome and thank you for joining us. This is QTV News. The shocking video of a schoolboy pinned to a wall, his legs crushed by a joyrider's car, gripped and horrified Gambians over the weekend. Now, there is an update on the disturbing incident. More in this report by Loli Camara.
The Gambia Police Force has moved quickly, arresting and charging 20-year-old Malik Baji for a reckless and negligent act after he recklessly drove his vehicle within a school zone and hit grade 6 student Abdurrahman Ba at Abuko School. Here is ASP Modo Musa Sisaho, PRO, Gambia Police Force.
He was drifting in the school and it led to this. It goes to show how important it is for people to understand the implications and the complications around drifting. It's recklessness. The Gambia Police Force has taken this very seriously, and the driver has been taken to court today, and the magistrate has remanded him. He is being taken to Mile 2 prisons while the case is adjourned to Thursday, when the magistrate will make a final decision. And this is very important, and we are very happy to report this, and that we will continue to ensure anybody who is found wanting, anybody who is found drifting, would ensure that he faces the full force of the law.
The alleged driver, Malik Baji, appeared before Magistrate Diba at the Bundu Magistrates Court earlier today, where he pleaded guilty. The court adjourned the case to Thursday, July 24th, for the presentation of the victim's medical report and sentencing. He has since been remanded at Mile 2 Central Prisons. Dr. Abibatu Drame, the Minister of Basic and Secondary Education, visited Abdurrahman Ba in hospital and spoke to the media afterwards.
It's one of the saddest days for the sector. I wish we were able to stop it, but things happen, and especially with tragedies of this nature, we just need to take note and to do everything that we should as a sector, with also the police investigations that are happening, to ensure that we take the right measures and take also the right actions to prevent its occurrence.
The victim, Abdurrahman Ba, underwent surgery, but doctors say he is responding well to treatment. His legs, while broken, were not amputated, offering a small relief in an otherwise devastating event. In a press release, the Gambia Police Force has condemned the dangerous practice of car drifting, essentially reckless and dangerous driving, and reiterated its zero-tolerance policy for reckless driving, especially in school zones. As Abdurrahman begins his road to recovery, the police say this should serve as a stern warning to all. Dangerous stunts on public roads will not be tolerated. For QTV News, Loliam Kamara.
The Secretary General of the African Continental Free Trade Area, AFCFTA, His Excellency Wamkele Mene, is in the Gambia for a 2-day visit to assess the country's progress in implementing the landmark Continental Trade Agreement. On Tuesday, he met stakeholders to discuss opportunities, challenges and strategies to maximize the benefits of AFCFTA for the Gambia's economy. Yafatu Gay reports.
The visit marks a significant moment for the Gambia as it continues to position itself within Africa's evolving single market, an initiative that promises to reshape the continent's trade landscape. On April 1, 2019, the Gambia became the 22nd country to ratify the AFCFTA agreement, a milestone that enabled the AFCFTA to officially come into force. This important move not only showed the Gambia's strong commitment to regional cooperation, but also helped bring the entire continent closer to a unified market. The Minister of Trade, Babukar Ojuf, highlighted that since ratifying the AFCFTA agreement, the Gambia has made notable progress in establishing a supportive framework for its successful implementation.
The government, through my ministry, has developed a comprehensive national AFCFTA implementation strategy representing the national strategic framework for the implementation of the AFCFTA. It identifies priority actions to be implemented by the government over a 10-year period from 2020.
The AFCFTA Secretary General, Wamkele Mene, outlined several key tools and strategies discussed with the ministry during his visit, aimed at supporting the growth and development of the Gambia's trade sector.
I am very, very encouraged that after this short visit, that we will, as an outcome of this visit, the roadmap that we will develop, the action plan that we will develop, which focuses, as I say, on industrial development, on the services sector, and on ensuring the implementation of the various protocols, including the protocol on women and youth in trade, that we are well on our way to seeing the benefits of this agreement.
Babukar Saho, a private sector participant, outlined some of the key challenges facing the business community in the Gambia, which he anticipates the AFCFTA agreement will help address.
Once functionally integrated within the AFCFTA framework, businesses in the Gambia would have access to a wider market. Currently, the population of the Gambia is pegged somewhere around 3 million, but the population of Africa is 1 billion. So we'll have access to a population of 1 billion people to trade, to market, to sell.
The AFCFTA is now the largest free trade area in the world by the number of participating countries, with 54 out of 55 African nations having signed on. It covers a combined market of more than 1.3 billion people and a total GDP estimated at $3.4 trillion, offering tremendous prospects for economic growth, industrialization and job creation across the continent. As discussions continue in the Gambia, officials and stakeholders are hopeful that Secretary General Wamkele Mene's visit will boost national efforts, deepen regional connections and help the Gambia make the most of the AFCFTA's opportunities. Reporting for QTV News, this is Yafati Gay.
Mamadou Touro Dabo, CEO of Sankajula Holding Company, appeared before the Select Committee on Tuesday to testify about his purchase of 5 aircraft that once belonged to former President Jammeh, as questions continue to be raised over the transparency of the asset disposal process. Our Bob has more.
The Jammeh Commission's inquiry into the dealings of ex-President Jammeh had revealed extensive corruption, illicit enrichment and financial management during Jammeh's rule, uncovering illegal asset acquisitions and unauthorized financial transfers involving the former leader and his close associates. The Commission ordered these assets to be seized. This special select committee has been constituted to investigate allegations of the improper sale and disposal of the ex-president's seized assets. The new probe aims to go beyond the Jammeh Commission's findings by uncovering hidden assets potentially concealed under third-party names, offshore accounts or shell companies focusing on wealth that may have invaded earlier seizures. Defending his company's role in the purchase of the aircraft, Mamadou Touro Dabo, CEO of Sankajula Holding Company, told the committee that his company operated within the law and followed all procedures set by the relevant authorities.
But for me, my suggestion is, because they have not received the court order, they are now proposing modalities to the Minister of Agriculture. Because if they have received the court order, they will not propose anything. they will act accordingly. But it was clearly stated that they have not received the court order. So in response to that, that's the time he also proposed these modalities to the Minister of Agriculture, to the best of my knowledge. Because if they have seen the court order, obviously they will not. They will act accordingly.
Mr. Dabo also addressed the livestock dealings, explaining that he obtained the necessary authorization and carried out the purchases through the appropriate official channels.
If you do not receive the court order and you don't have the terms of reference, so looking at these animals where they are, there must be logistical requirements, because one is at Kanilai, Farato, Banjulunding, they have to travel and they have to go with staffs, the other expenditures. So any money you spend in Gilma, at the end of the day, will be audited by the National Assembly. So if you don't have any supporting document attached to that, they will query you.
Yahya Jammeh, who ruled the Gambia with an iron grip from 1994 until his exile in 2017, is alleged to have diverted hundreds of millions of dollars through land grabs, abuse of state institutions, and international money transfers. While some of his assets have been confiscated or frozen, a significant portion is thought to remain concealed. As the investigation widens, authorities have pledged a more transparent and accountable process, one that many hope will finally deliver justice and closure after years of unanswered questions surrounding Jammeh's legacy of exploitation. For QTV News, I am our Bob.
Apologies there, we've played you the wrong insert and we will get you the details of that story later. We'll now go for a commercial break, and when we return, we have more national and international news stories. Do stay tuned and join us after the break.
At Ajib Bank, we are more than banking. We build bridges that connect you to pivotal services every day. Do you have government bills to pay to the Gambia Revenue Authority, Comfort, KMC, or the Accountant General's Department? We've got you covered. From payment of customs and domestic taxes to GRA, payment of number plate and vehicle ownership transfer to Comfort, payment of property rates and business license fee to KMC, and payment of MR passport, business registration, fishing license, land fees, sale of assets, lease application, development permits, quarrying royalties, gravel and sand, mining royalties, and a host of other revenue lines to the Accountant General's Department. Walk into any of our branches nationwide and make your payments hassle-free, either in person or online. Simple, secure, and immediate. With Ajib Bank, there is no need to worry about government bill payments for your vehicles, taxes, licenses, business registration, and any other revenue line. Ajib Bank, passionate about your investment. We've got you covered. Ajib Bank, your investment partner.
Hi there, my name is Nuruddin Adams, a proud product of this noble institution. Heritage Christian University is not just a learning place, but a community that transforms lives and empowers its students to become compassionate entrepreneurial leaders. My journey here has truly been life-changing, and I invite you to come experience the same. Whether your passion is into business, nursing, midwifery, psychology, communication studies, multimedia technology, information technology, or theology and ministry, Heritage has tailored these programs for both the undergraduate and graduate studies to suit your goal. If you're ever ready to take your education to the next level, then pick up an application form and join us today. At Heritage, you are never alone, as members of the community will stand and work with you every step of the way. Welcome to Heritage Christian University.
Welcome back and thank you very much for joining us. This is QTV News. On Tuesday, the National Environment Agency, NEA, held a capacity building workshop training petrol station operators on environment management and emergency response strategies. Mam Nabukar has the rest of that story.
The Gambia is experiencing a surge in its number of fuel service stations, particularly in areas that are emerging and seeing significant economic and population growth. This trend poses significant health, safety, and environmental risks due to the country's limited capacity to manage emergencies effectively. The need to address this is made more acute by the numbers of these petrol stations that are built close to residential buildings. To address this pressing challenge, the National Environment Agency deemed it necessary to build the capacity of filling station staff to deal with potentially dangerous situations. This training, which gathered 31 individuals from petrol service providers across the country, aims to raise awareness about the risks associated with the industry, as well as enhance their capacity to implement precautionary measures and emergency responses that will help prevent anticipated risks and minimize the impact of emergencies. Omar C. is the Director of Technical Services Network at the NEA.
We all know that environmental issues are cross-cutting, and as such, it requires holistic approach or integrated approach in ensuring that the impacts emanating from activities are addressed or mitigated.
During the workshop, several key sessions will highlight relevant regulations related to product handling and compliance requirements, best practice for contaminated waste management, disposal and segregation, as well as fire prevention and emergency response strategies. With citizens often unknowingly engaging in harmful behaviors such as refueling their vehicles while their engine is still running, as well as smoking and using their mobile phones in close proximity to petrol stations, Lamin B.J. Samate, Program Manager of Environmental Impact Assessment at the NEA, explains the necessity of this training.
There are a lot of risk factors involved. You look at our roads, they are very narrow. The traffic is so congested at some point, and these are highly flammable products that we'll be transporting to the various cell outlets. These, coupled with the heats that we normally have here, especially during summer, is so much so that we need to put in place measures to protect ourselves and protect others around us.
Aliu A.B. Kambi is a participant and the representative of the oil marketing companies.
My great expectation will be on these health and safety tools from fire service ends, because I can see, I'm not saying they are not on the training, but the training capacity is very limited, and I'm recognizing some of their personnel here in the hall. So we are going to learn a great deal, and after the training, when I get back to my company, so we will reach the training to our pump attendants, especially how to use these fire extinguishers.
The NEA plans to continue offering similar training sessions in the future to reinforce its commitment to promoting sustainable practices within the petrol station industry. Mamna Buka, reporting for QTV News.
The Medical Research Council, unit the Gambia at the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine, is soon to complete the early development of Epigenetics and Nutrition, EDEN, study, which reveals the crucial role of nutrition in shaping child growth and health outcomes from pregnancy through early childhood. Our Bob tells us more.
The project, which began in 2020, builds on earlier research showing that food availability in the Gambia varies between the wet and dry seasons. These seasonal differences provided a natural setting to study how diet influences early development. Results from the study will help researchers understand how a mother's nutrition around conception can impact her child's health later in life. At the heart of this research is the concept of epigenetics, which studies how genes are switched on or off depending on the body's needs, without altering the DNA itself. Although every cell in the body contains the same DNA, different genes are active in different types of cells, such as those in the brain or liver. One of the main mechanisms controlling this is DNA methylation, a process where chemical tags are added to the DNA to activate or silence specific genes. Right after conception, many of these chemical tags are erased and a new set is established to guide the baby's development. Scientists have discovered that a mother's diet at conception can influence this new pattern. known as the embryonic methylome. Changes in this pattern have been linked to health conditions such as obesity, thyroid disorders, and even cancer, underscoring the importance of nutrition early in life. One unique feature of the early developmental epigenetics and nutrition study is its focus on the placenta, the organ that nourishes the baby during pregnancy. The placenta carries specific gene patterns inherited from both the mother and father, some of which play a crucial role in fetal growth. Researchers are closely examining these patterns to understand how they influence development. To conduct the study, the Early Developmental Epigenetics and Nutrition team recruited women of childbearing age from West and Central Kiang in the Gambia's Lower River region. They began collecting samples including blood, urine, stool, and placenta within 15 days of conception, an extremely early and critical stage of pregnancy. Dr. Math Silva, the study's lead researcher, explained that the early developmental epigenetics and nutrition is helping scientists understand how a baby's environment in the earliest moments of life can shape their future health and risks of disease. Professor Andrew Prentice, co-lead of the study, added that learning how a mother's diet can affect a baby's DNA may unlock new ways to prevent illness and improve health across generations. With the study set to wrap up in 2025, the team is already uncovering important findings. These insights could lead to better nutrition strategies for mothers and children, ultimately improving growth, health, and disease prevention from the very beginning of life. For QTV News, I am Awabov.
Coming up next is international news. Elections Cameroon Elecam, the Central African country's electoral commission, announced on Tuesday that apart from the incumbent, 81 people have submitted applications to contest the presidential election scheduled for October 12, marking a record number of candidates. Among them is the long-serving incumbent President Paul Biya, who has officially filed to seek an 8th term. Aissatou Bari reports.
The 2025 presidential election in Cameroon has witnessed an unprecedented surge in candidates. By the midnight deadline on July 21st, 82 individuals had officially submitted their candidacies, according to a list released by the General Directorate of Elections shortly after the deadline. These filings, made at Elecam offices nationwide, are a historic milestone in the country's electoral history. The surge is particularly notable compared to the 2018 presidential election, which recorded just 29 candidates, which was considered a high number. Many Cameroonians attribute this sharp increase to a widespread desire for political change, fueled by the growing public frustration with the current situation and surprise over the incumbent's decision to seek yet another term. In the 65 years since gaining independence, Cameroon has only had two presidents, Ahmadou Ahidjo, who was president from independence in 1960 until November 1982, when Biya took over. The 92-year-old incumbent, who has now ruled for over 4 decades, recently announced his intention to seek another term, despite mounting concerns about his health and capacity to govern. At a July 2025 political rally, he thanked his supporters and said, "The best is yet to come." Political analysts explained that the current legal and administrative framework permits a large number of candidacy submissions. However, many of the candidates, whether affiliated with political parties or running independently, have been largely inactive on the political scene since the last election. And in truth, none of them are likely to topple the old man. Among the hopefuls are several returning candidates. Bello Buba Maigari, who withdrew his support for President Paul Biya earlier this year, is running for the second time. Likewise, Maurice Kamto and Cabral Libi, each having switched party allegiance ahead of the election, Despite the large number of candidates, the field remains predominantly male, with only 7 women among the 82 presidential hopefuls. However, President Paul Biya holds on power appears secure. Last week, he reshuffled senior military leadership, widely viewed as a move to secure the army's support for his bid for another term. The country now awaits the Electoral Council's decision, which is expected to approve or reject each application in the coming weeks. The final list of candidates must be published no later than 60 days before the elections. Aisha Tubari, QTV News.
Now, before we end this news bulletin, here's a recap of our main news headlines. The police have issued an update on the shocking incident in Abuko where a schoolboy was pinned against a wall, his legs crushed by a joyrider's car. The Secretary General of the African Continental Free Trade Area, His Excellency Wamkele Mene, is in the Gambia for a 2-day visit to assess the country's progress in implementing the landmark Continental Trade Agreement. Modu Turo Dabo, CEO of Sanka Jula Holding Company, appeared before the Select Committee on Tuesday to testify about his purchase of 5 aircraft that once belonged to former President Jammeh. On Tuesday, the National Environment Agency held a capacity building workshop training petrol station operators on environmental management and emergency response strategies. And in international news, Cameroon's Electoral Commission, ELCAM, announced on Tuesday that apart from the incumbent, 81 people have submitted applications to contest the October's presidential elections. That's all we have time for in this bulletin. Thank you very much for watching. Join us again at 10 for another bulletin.